Rocket Raccoon is one of Marvel's most beloved characters in the cinematic universe. After Rocket's incredible arc in the MCU, there's been plenty of talk about what his future might hold. But would he shine best in a movie or as a Disney Plus series? We at Movie Recap Pro are wondering what a Rocket Raccoon spin-off could look like. Following Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Rocket Raccoon's journey from comic book obscurity to a must-see MCU character is an incredible story in itself. First created by Bill Mantlo and Keith Giffen in Marvel Preview number 7 back in 1976, Rocket's origins were far from glamorous. Inspired by the Beatles' song Rocky Raccoon, the beloved trash panda was initially a quirky, somewhat comedic figure within Marvel's universe. He lived on Half-World, a planet that doubled as an insane asylum for alien beings. Rocket's job was to maintain peace and protect the inhabitants, most of whom were animals that had been genetically altered to be sentient. The early comic book version of Rocket leaned heavily into the absurd, with over-the-top storylines and a cosmic, surreal backdrop. His universe was filled with talking animals, robotic adversaries, and bizarre adventures that made Rocket stand out even in a comic universe known for its oddball characters. But while Rocket was entertaining, he wasn't exactly a household name. He was seen as a niche character, until Marvel's cinematic universe came knocking. In the MCU, Rocket's debut in Guardians of the Galaxy was a major turning point. Voiced by Bradley Cooper, Rocket was transformed from a semi-comedic character into a deeply complex anti-hero with layers of humor, pain, and moral ambiguity. Guardians director James Gunn managed to balance Rocket's snarky, sarcastic personality with the trauma of his past, giving him an edge that made him immediately relatable and intriguing. Rocket's MCU backstory was fully explored in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was revealed that he was the victim of horrific and brutal genetic experimentation by the High Evolutionary, a villain obsessed with creating a perfect species. The trauma of being torn apart and rebuilt repeatedly gave Rocket a hardened, cynical outlook, and he used sarcastic humor to mask his pain. Over the course of the Guardians films, Rocket slowly evolved into the emotional heart of the group, even though his vulnerability was often pushed down in front of the team. In Guardians Volume 3, Rocket's arc reaches a crescendo as he takes on the High Evolutionary and confronts the horrors of his past. This final battle not only gave closure to Rocket's personal trauma, but also gave the audience a nod to the start of his leadership journey. By the end of the film, Rocket is not only a survivor, but the new leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This setup opens the door to countless new stories, both about his past and his future. The possibilities for a Rocket spin-off are vast, and whether it's a Disney Plus series or a feature film, Rocket's journey could go in several interesting directions. One of the most compelling ideas for a Rocket spin-off is to dive into his origins even more than Guardians Volume 3 did. While the third film gave us a heartbreaking look into Rocket's early life under the High Evolutionary, there's still a lot of untold history. Where did he go after his escape? How did he discover Groot? A prequel series focusing on Rocket's escape from the High Evolutionary could be a thrilling mix of action, survival, and emotional depth. Fans would get to see Rocket evolve from a terrified, abused creature into the cunning and resourceful raccoon we first met in the original Guardians. We could also explore how he became a master tactician, skilled pilot, and weapons expert, all while navigating the criminal underworld of the galaxy. Rocket's history with Groot also offers potential for rich storytelling. The two have been inseparable from the moment they appeared together in Guardians of the Galaxy, but we don't know much about how they first met. The Rocket and Groot origin story would not only give more insight into their unique partnership, but could also deliver some endearing, lighthearted fun, balancing out the darker elements of Rocket's past. Groot's innocence and childlike nature are a perfect contrast to Rocket's hardened exterior, and exploring that dynamic could lead to some great character moments. Alternatively, if the spin-off takes place after Guardians Volume 3, it could follow Rocket's new role as the leader of the Guardians. Rocket has always been a reluctant leader, preferring to stay on the sidelines or act as the team's wild card. Now that he's officially in charge, there's a lot of narrative potential in seeing him wrestle with this new responsibility. How does Rocket, who has spent his life avoiding attachments and authority, balance his usual reckless approach with the need to be a responsible leader. This storyline could also explore how Rocket deals with the emotional fallout from Guardians Volume 3. He's always been a character who hides his feelings, but as leader, he can't afford to stay closed off. Watching Rocket navigate his personal growth while facing external threats could offer a perfect blend of character-driven drama and action-packed space adventures. A Rocket spinoff could give more screen time to characters that were somewhat sidelined in the Guardians movies too. Cosmo the Space Dog is a great example of this. Though featured in Guardians Volume 1 and 3, the space pup didn't have much time to shine. A Rocket-led spinoff could feature more of Cosmo and other characters from the comics, bringing in a wider Marvel cosmic universe that hasn't yet been explored in the MCU. When thinking about a Rocket Raccoon spinoff, one of the key questions is whether it would work better as a movie or a Disney Plus series. Both formats have their advantages, but a closer look at Rocket's character suggests that a Disney Plus series would be the better fit. A Disney Plus series would allow Rocket's story to unfold at a slower, more deliberate pace. The Raccoon is a complex character with layers of trauma, guilt, and emotional baggage, and a series format would provide the space to explore these aspects in depth, much like WandaVision and Loki did for their leading characters. Rather than squeezing all of Rocket's emotional beats into a 2-hour movie, a series could let us spend more time with him, watching him evolve from episode to episode. In addition, a Disney Plus series would allow for more episodic storytelling, which would suit Rocket's penchant for getting into wild, unpredictable situations. Each episode could focus on a different mission or aspect of Rocket's life, whether it's a dangerous heist, a confrontation with his past, or even a quieter, introspective episode that delves into Rocket's psyche. With Rocket's knack for getting into trouble, the series could strike a balance between action, comedy, and heartfelt character moments. That being said, a Rocket Raccoon movie still has its merits. One of the biggest strengths of the Guardians of the Galaxy films has been their ability to mix stunning cosmic visuals with emotional storytelling. Rocket is a character made for the big screen, and a movie would give him the full high-budget treatment that a cinematic adventure requires. A standalone Rocket film could deliver a fast-paced, high-octane adventure with Rocket's quick wit and combat skills taking center stage. A movie could also incorporate other major Marvel characters and help set up numerous movies yet to be released in the MCU. Ultimately, the decision between a movie and a series comes down to the kind of story Marvel wants to tell. If they want to focus on Rocket's emotional journey, then a Disney Plus series would provide the necessary space to dive deep into his character. But if the focus is on Rocket's high-stakes adventures in the cosmos, then a movie could deliver a concise, action-packed story that feels worthy of the big screen. In the end, whether it's a movie or a Disney Plus series, Rocket Raccoon's story has the potential to keep audiences captivated. Thank you for watching.